Well, welcome back to the Be Unexpected podcast. And today we have with us Jordan Larson. Jordan, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Excited to share a little bit of your story, talk to some things you're doing now. Obviously, people remember you for playing at Nebraska, but there's more to it than that. So we'd love to just kind of go right in and dive into your story. So you grew up in Hooper, correct?
Correct.
Hooper, Nebraska.
Yes. Good job. Yep.
And going to Logan View. Explain what that was like as a child, finding the love for volleyball and other athletics, and what it was like growing up in Hooper, Nebraska.
Yeah, absolutely. So my parents actually got divorced when I was really young. So I was about 3 when my parents got divorced. So my mom actually lived in town, and then my dad actually lived on the farm. And so I kind of got a taste of both worlds a little bit, and both my parents were athletes. My dad played football at Wayne State for a short period of time, and my mom played sports all the way through high school. And actually, she might still hold like a couple of records in basketball at my high school. She was pretty good. So I was just very lucky that my parents kind of really threw me into a lot of sports. So I started out with soccer. I played softball. I played basketball. I played the piano. I did a variety of things, and they never really forced me into anything. It was just like, hey, let's try it. And I found out quickly that soccer was not for me. I was like, this is not my sport. I also did gymnastics. I learned quickly that I was growing way too fast for that. I still fell in love with softball. I played basketball all through high school. But where I really found love for volleyball was at the age of 12. Couple of my stepdad's coworkers, their daughters started playing club volleyball out of Omaha, and they're like, hey, do you want to come try out? And I was like, oh gosh, like, first of all, it's very expensive, and I just didn't know if I was that into it, and so my parents kind of sat me down and got me ready to go to this tryout, and I was scared, nervous, ended up making the team. And my parents kind of sat me down at that point and was like, all right, well, if we're going to do this, and this is something that you really want to do, right? It's a financial investment. So we're going to set some goals. And so I remember setting 3 goals when I was 12. I wanted to start varsity as a freshman. I wanted to go on and play at a university. And then I wanted to go play in the Olympics. And I would walk around telling people that. I don't know what I was, but I really wholeheartedly believed that was where I was going to go. And I kind of had this vision, and my parents just really kind of set the stage for me and took me where I needed to be. And and I think originally I was going to transfer out of Logan View when I was younger, just because I didn't know if I was going to get seen by colleges. But because I was playing club, I committed to the University of Nebraska when I was a sophomore in high school. And then that was most of my high school memory for sure.
So, playing, club in high school, to make yourself, separate from the other players, would you, kind of sacrifice, a social life to go practice, outside of practice? Is that what you felt like you had to do to, try to be the best?
Yes, for sure. And I think my parents always tried to put that in perspective, that it was, off the court stuff that was just as important. Obviously, studying was important, right? I have to get a degree first and foremost. And then eating well, sleeping well, and then also I was actually going to a speed and agility class in Lincoln, as well as kind of incongruent with club volleyball and things like that. But I also think what was cool was I kind of got a break from volleyball, right? I got to play basketball, I got to be in the band, I got to do other things. So I think my mind and my body was able to rest, where I feel like now, I don't know if you're not getting into this subject, but I feel like now everybody has to specialize so early on that they're only playing one sport, and they're not giving their body rest or anything like that. And so it's just, it's really, really hard. So I don't know, I feel very grateful that my path took me where I was and could learn those lessons early on as well,
Yeah, that's a great perspective. And also so you going to school at Logan View, Wyatt and I being from Fremont, was there a pull from, I don't know, the coaches in Fremont or whoever, hey, go to Fremont, they're Class A, you'll get exposed, or was it always just set, since you had the club volleyball, I'm just going to stay at Logan View with my friends?
Yeah, well, my dad was a teacher at Logan View as well, and so it was kind of easier for me just being home with my dad, and my obviously it was easy for him to take me to school and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fremont was never really in the picture because at the time I don't know like how good I wouldn't say I should say how good their volleyball team was, but that shouldn't matter. But I think it was just more of like who I was playing and things like that. But I also knew that my club coach that I was playing for in Omaha, she was the head coach at Gross High School, which was a Class B school, which was kind of one of the top in the class of Class B. So my exposure probably would have gotten a little bit higher just because of where they were sitting in the league and things like that. So that was kind of mainly more of the conversation at that point. But I'm really glad I chose to stay. I really enjoyed my time, and I think it was good to kind of also not be exposed to a bigger school as well.
Are there any games that stick out, or like, did you guys make the state tournament ever in Wayne
Yes.
State, or how did your high school career end?
Yeah, so I think we made state only once. I think we actually made state twice, I believe. Gosh, terrible. It's so long ago. But the first one I think we lost in the first round. I could be wrong on that. And then the one time, I think it was my junior year, we made it all the way to state finals, and we ended up losing to Columbus Scotus. Columbus Scotus was very good, C1 many years. So they were just much better team, but I thought for what we had and the potential that we showed was really good turnout for us.
Awesome.
Maybe we
So,
can kind of. Oh, go ahead, Wyatt.
Oh, go ahead, Jake. So, like, going from high school, like, you remember, like, that last volleyball game you played in high school? Like, was that, like, pretty crushing to, like, end your high school career? But were you also, like, kind of happy to start that new chapter and going to
Yeah,
play
no.
college volleyball as well?
Yeah, for sure. I don't even remember where my high school season ended or where I was. I knew that I was excited to. That's terrible, but gosh, it was so long ago, and my memory is like, ugh. I've been too many places now that I'm like, where, what, huh? But I was really excited to kind of get going to school and kind of playing at a higher level, and I also was going to go to school early, so I think I finished high school in was it May, and then I was going to take summer class, so I literally only had like a month off before starting training at Nebraska and kind of getting like into the college world like sooner. So I was really excited for that next chapter, and also to be so close to home. I mean, I was worried about leaving home and all that, but it was nice to have a best of both worlds there.
Was that obviously I'm assuming you're a huge Husker fan growing up. Was that the main reason that you went to Nebraska, was staying close to home? Obviously John Cook, but was there other coaches coming, like trying to pull you to wherever school, Florida, Penn State, wherever it was?
Yeah, for sure. I think I committed so early on that I didn't really have. I mean, I think I would have had interest and could have probably gone anywhere if I wanted to. I committed pretty early on just because I knew that's where I wanted to go because it was close to home. Obviously, when I went there, they were number one in the nation, so it was kind of a pretty obvious thing, especially if I wanted to play on after college. I thought it was going to set me up with the most success. And then I did go to a holiday camp. I think it was my junior year because also throughout high school, I was a part of the high performance, like USA Volleyball high performance. So I was on the youth national team and junior national team. So I was traveling outside the country during the summers sometimes and kind of in the USA pipeline. And so because of that, I got to know other coaches from other places. So I got really close with one of the coaches at UCLA and was considering it, but I just was so nervous to move far from home and be away from my family that it was important to be there.
So when you got to Nebraska, like, what was it like? Like, did you accomplish your goal and, like, start as a freshman? Or were you, like, struggling when you got there to get in the starting lineup?
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember it was very challenging. I'm grateful that I went kind of the summer school route and kind of eased my way in because summer conditioning was unreal. It was so hard, and then I was like, it's just another level, right? Like in high school, you think you're good, and then all of a sudden you get to college and you're like, whoa. And so then, are you frozen? We're good still, right?
Nope.
Oh.
I'm back.
He's
Sorry,
back.
guys. I don't know what happened. But
No
go ahead.
worries. Are we good? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then, when I got there, I actually ended up earning a starting spot and was able to play most of my freshman year. So I was very grateful that I got to do that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. So you came in. Was it tough gelling with the players right away, or was it such a tight knit group that it was easily just to join in right away?
Yeah. So John preaches culture quite a bit and like learning how to be a good teammate and learning how to like function well as a team. And so I think it was always a priority of ours to like not I wouldn't say get along, but just like have respect for one another and how can we get on the same page quicker. But a lot of the girls, especially the ones that were playing, were older. So for me, it was how can I navigate that space and make sure that I'm doing my job and being okay with me. And so I knew I had to, just be good in that space. So, but yeah, I mean, it came with its challenges for sure, but nothing that was like, overwhelming.
What was it like your first time playing in the NCAA tournament for volleyball?
In the state tournament, it was crazy. Like it just,
Yeah.
I at that time I had traveled outside the country a couple times, so I was used to like quote unquote a bigger stage per se. But to be, I still remember the hype like around our high school and like the feeling of like it's such a big deal, and it was so fun to be a part of for sure.
So then, like, when you went to the tournament with Nebraska, were you
Yep.
pretty used to like just like the big atmosphere and
Yeah,
everything?
for sure. Well, and then at Nebraska, like we played in the Coliseum, so sold out crowds at 3,500 every game, and so you kind of get used to playing. I wouldn't say used to it; it's not easy, right? But it becomes more normal playing in front of a large crowd. So then when you are on, a bigger stage or playing for a championship at the end, like you've already kind of are accustomed to it. And I honestly like now playing everywhere outside the United States, like having that experience has eased the nervousness and the how big of an event it is based off of like where I am, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, that's cool. We'll get into it after a bit, but so just looking here, you've been everywhere from the Olympics to now in Italy, Nebraska, but kind of going back to in high school and growing up, and you're just talked about your parents playing a huge role in your life. Do you want to maybe dive into a little bit, kind of some things I believe in high school that you dealt with yourself, and then your mom having cancer, and just kind of what that was like for you and your family?
yeah, for sure. So I'm also an only child, and my mom actually got remarried when I was 10, and so my stepdad actually has been in my life since I was 5, and they did a great job like co-parenting. I'm very grateful that I was raised in a very loving home, supportive home, all the things. My mom actually was diagnosed, I think I was a sophomore in high school, with breast cancer. And at the time it was very, stage 1, caught very early, and how they told me was like, hey, she's going to do treatment, she's going to do chemo, and like once, it's over, right? Like the odds of hers coming back was like, the doctor actually told her like, you're more likely to get hit by a bus than your cancer to come back. So it was just very, very unlikely. And so then fast forward kind of to like 5 years, it was my junior year. Yep, my junior year, like end of my junior year, beginning of my senior year. She kind of came down with a cough, and it was kind of around winter time. And so again, we didn't expect anything, or she had every checkup she had was fine. And, but it just wasn't going away. And so she actually did a bronchoscopy, which is they basically go and test the tissue in your lungs, see if it's pneumonia or things like that. And they found out that it was the breast tissue from her cancer from before. And because it was already in her lungs, that means it has metastasized. And that means that she's terminal at that point. And at the time when I was in college, I didn't know what that meant, right? Like my mom was always like, even with me, she was like preaching like, mental toughness, like you're a fighter, like to me, right, as an athlete, and like how to be on to the next thing. And and so I just approached that the same with her, right? It was like, all right, well, here's the diagnosis, what do we need to do to fight? like we're going to try to find the best solution, and so she fought probably it was like a little over a year, and then it was kind of just got really hard kind of the last couple weeks, which I'm kind of grateful that it wasn't terrible, but it was a big part of my life, and she was a big part of my life. So losing her right out of college was tough for sure.
Along that journey, was there people you pulled that like really just helped you walk along with it? Obviously, you said your stepdad and then your dad too, but friends, other family members, teammates. I'm sure there was coaches, whoever just helped you walk along with that.
Yeah, for sure. I've been so blessed by just teammates and, like you said, coaches. I've been so lucky that I've been surrounded by some of the best coaches in the game, and not only coaches but mentors and people that are willing to listen and kind of stand in my corner. So I feel very lucky in that sense. And yeah, when it's just tough when you lose a parent. It's someone that that loves you unconditionally, regardless of your decisions or how they're always going to be there, and so it's really hard. As much as you want to replace them, like it's really hard to replace them, and so, but I've been very lucky that I have a lot of great people in my life that, have taken some of that burden and helped me along the way. But also it's taught me to be resilient. I mean, how she fought, there's so many lessons in it, and I feel like I've really tried to carry that on and, make her proud and all the things, because I know it's crazy to me. Sorry, I'm going to go off on a little tangent, but she doesn't know this pro life. Like she doesn't know any of this. It's crazy to me that it's been such a big part of my life and she hasn't got to see any of it. So and how much she would just have loved it. And one of the last things she said to me was, she was sick in the hospital, and I walk in the room and she's like, "You better not be missing a tournament for this." Like literally the first words out of her mouth. I'm like, "Mom, you're in a hospital." And I was missing a tournament, which she probably would have killed me if I actually told her the truth. But I don't know. It just goes to show her mindset and how much she cared. So, yeah.
Is there a moment that sticks out, like when you were growing up or playing in high school or college, that you go back to when you're facing hard times in volleyball or just life in general?
Yeah, for sure.
Something she said to you?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually were playing at Washington for the regional final in 2008, I believe. And so that match, she actually was very sick. She was going through treatments, but flew up to Washington to watch. But she was too sick to come to the game. And we ended up starting the game, and I knew my stepdad was there, and my dad was there as well. My stepdad and then my boyfriend at the time were supposed to be in the stands, but I couldn't find them. And I didn't know if my mom was coming to the game at the time. I hadn't heard anything. And so we had played the first two sets, and I'm playing, but in the stands, looking, where are they? What's going on? I finally found them after set two. We're down 0-2. We go back to the locker room. We come back out. We win the next two sets. We're down 9-3. We come back and win, and the most epic comeback of all time. Still probably one of the best comebacks I've ever had in my career. And for me at that point, that could have been the last time my mom would have saw me play potentially, right? And so it actually, because we won that match, it extended us to go to the Final Four, and so she got to actually watch me play in person in front of a home crowd one more time. And so I actually, after that match in Washington, I ended up going to the hotel and seeing her, and it's amazing that she even tried to make the trip, even though she couldn't make it to the game. So it's so much symbolism and just massive respect for her. So
I'm sure you could go in here on so many memories like that, and I was just thinking in my head here, I remember that game because me and my mom's sister, she let me stay up to watch it because it was on the West Coast, so it's a little early there, and I was just so pumped. But that's so awesome. After your time in Nebraska, what year did you guys win the national championship?
06.
06, and that was your junior year?
My sophomore year.
And then leading up. So after you graduated from Nebraska, was it? You're part of the Olympic team already. Did you just continue with that and then go play overseas after? Or what was that process like?
Yeah, so I actually graduated in December of '08, and then I signed a contract to go play in Puerto Rico. So I went to Puerto Rico from January to like mid-March, beginning of April. And then I got asked to come train with the national team. So what a lot of people don't know is that the Olympic team doesn't become the Olympic team until about 1 month out from the Olympics. So
Oh,
every year there's about 4 to 5 tournaments per summer, and there's a new roster of 14 players that make each team. So every year every summer you're battling just to stay on the team, in hopes to make that final roster for the Olympics. So I got asked to come train after my senior year in college, after my Puerto Rican season. And then I went and trained with the national team, and then I signed a contract in Russia that first year. And then I went and played in Russia from I think it was like September, October through May. And then again, got asked to come back to train, and then signed in Russia again. So then I played every season up to the Olympics, and then I finally made the roster in 2012. So
wow.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
intense.
yeah, it is
You've been in 3 Olympics?
3. Yep.
3.
What's the difference between like the Olympics and then is it called the World Championships?
Yep. World Championships.
Is there a
Yep.
difference in that?
Yeah, so World Championships for me is one of the harder tournaments. And actually teams in Europe we take a lot of pride in winning World Championships. It's one of the hardest tournaments to win because back in the day, I don't know if it is anymore because they've realized how hard it is. But it's a round robin tournament of 15 teams. So you play 14 games in like a 20-day period, and you're traveling all around that one country that's hosting. So example, if Japan is hosting, you may play 3 games in Tokyo, 3 games in Nagoya, 3 games, so you're traveling all around and then you're playing all at the same time. It's one of the hardest tournaments, where the Olympic Games is you're playing like every other day, and then the World Cup. So it's World Championships 2 years out from the Olympics. World Cup is a year out from the Olympics, and usually is a qualifier for the Olympic Games. But now they're changing the whole scenario. It's a whole nother world. People are like, wait, what? What's going on? Yeah, but it's fun. So, yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, though. Are you gonna be playing the next Olympics?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know. I haven't said no. I haven't said yes yet. I'm definitely just trying to be as present as I can and kind of take it as it comes. So, yeah.
Looking back from like when you started playing volleyball, could you ever imagine like what your career has come out to be?
Most definitely not. I mean, I think like I was telling you, when I was 12, like I was walking around and I'm like, I'm gonna be an Olympian one day, Like I think in my heart I believed that I could do it, and like I really was determined to find a way. But I think the capacity of what it's been, I never would have fathomed, and I feel so. I love this interview because like you guys are from where I'm from. Like you understand, like it's different. It's a different way of life. And now that I've seen the world, it's so different. And I feel like from where I came from and like what I've been able to see like around the world, it's created this unique perspective. And I just am so grateful that I never would have fathomed, but I've been living my dream. It's incredible. People say love what you do, and you don't have to work a day in your life or something like that. Like, I feel like I get to wake up every day and I get to go play a sport that I absolutely love and get to enjoy. So, and it's not always been like that. Don't get me wrong. There are days that I wake up and I'm like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, can I do this? And then I think about but I get to. This is awesome.
Yep. Like Wyatt and I were talking before. We're just thinking, okay, Jordan Larson, her AAU or whatever in high school, and then going to Nebraska, and now wherever, just the places she's gone, the people she's met. Obviously, like you said, it's not all like from the outside view. Oh my gosh, it's Jordan Larson. This is so awesome. But there's the struggle, the grind, the things you've gone through. So I appreciate you sharing that. And also, so you just said I asked if you're playing Olympics. You said I'm just trying to be present. So what is being present for Jordan Larson? You're in Italy right now, but is there something coming up in the next year for you? Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I'm currently I'm close to Milan, Italy. It's an amazing club, and we're kind of in the middle of season. We're doing quite well. We're sitting third. We have a big match this weekend versus the second place team, so this will kind of determine a lot for us. But yeah, I've kind of had a little bit of a life change the last year. I had recently gotten married, and that kind of took a right turn. So talk about challenges in life, and now I'm just trying to see where I want to be and where I want to end up. And national team door is still very much open, and the possibility of continuing is open. I think now I'm sitting at a place where I have a lot of opportunities that I'm just like, I'm like trying to navigate, well, what's right and what feels good and what do I actually want to do, but just taking time and also like enjoying. I feel like I've been going that I'm like, whoa, I need to like slow my roll and take it in. So I'm just really trying to have fun and enjoy this process and heal a little bit from this past year.
Yeah. What are you doing? So on off nights or days or just when you guys have free time, what are you guys as a team? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, so this morning we had the morning off, so I hosted a couple of girls over for brunch. In Italy, their breakfast doesn't look like ours, right? Like we're big pancakes, eggs, bacon. Right. They're about like croissants and. It just looks different. And so I made an American brunch this morning. I made pancakes, eggs, bacon, and some fruit. And and I had a couple girls over, and like, it's just fun that we get to do that. Tomorrow we're going to a basketball game. Milan has a pro team here. We also have a men's volleyball team within our club. So sometimes we go to matches of theirs. And then I'm a big person. As I've gotten older, I really appreciate like deeper relationships, like deeper conversations. So going out to dinner, like getting into just fun conversation, and just kind of really taking that and enjoying those moments when they come.
Awesome.
Because you've traveled all around the world, do you know how to speak several languages?
I wish the answer was yes, because it's unfortunately not. I am a little bit sad about that. But yeah, I've learned bits and pieces of some, but not like in its entirety for sure. So I could definitely have tried harder in that area. That is one area that I do wish I would have kind of dove more into.
That would be difficult, learning from where all you've been, learning that, and not just the language, but the culture too. You said, you just said the breakfast is different than America. I can imagine just the life is different.
It is.
Yeah, trying to communicate with everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky that here a lot of my teammates speak English, and my coach coaches in English, so I'm lucky in that sense. But I've also, my first season in Russia, like I had one girl speak English, my coach barely spoke English, so a lot of hand signals and, like learning how to say mine in Russian and all that stuff. So it's different. Yeah.
Awesome.
But it just
Jordan,
makes me that much more
joining us today.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, finish.
No, I was just saying every time I come back to the United States and I go through customs, I'm just like, we live in one of the greatest places. We really do. And we are so blessed as a country and as people. And I never take it for granted for sure. So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Out of so many people you talk to, I bet you have a great perspective on that view, just the freedom, and just how blessed we are here in America. So I bet you have a great view and perspective on that.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today on the podcast. We really appreciate you being open and vulnerable and sharing some stuff you've gone through and kind of what you're up to now. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Thanks.